loved it. It reminded me quite a lot of Silence of the Lambs. Of your character reminded me a bit of Agent Starling. And basically, so I read that, I don't know if that's
I just had images of me like in a gray sweatsuit, like running through the woods.
Right, and in those heels that Anthony Hopkins refers to.
Right, yeah.
That's what was in my mind as well, actually. And I read that it was based on a best-selling novel.
All you have to do is fuck with my clitoris. That's like all I want when someone's orally... So interesting. For all the straight dudes out there, I did some research. What's the clitoris? Until we'll find
Thank you very much. This is very insightful.
You're welcome.
Your lead actor to show up. Boy,
Were you late one day, sir?
He was never late once.
Not once.
He's never late once.
I am
Knock on wood.
curious.
Mindhunter, obviously. I do both the voice as Kristoff
And as Sven.
Oh, I better pick Leah Michelle or else she'll murder me. 36 Questions, the podcast musical that you can listen to now. Always Beyonce. Beyonce every time. Beyonce all day. Beyonce... I don't need to say anymore. Beyonce.
Lui aussi, elle est très bon. N'est-ce pas? Regarde.
What did she say?
She said the show is beautiful.
What did you say?
I said you're very handsome.
Pop.
You're very handsome.
Ooh. Netflix and chill.
Yeah, not Netflix and chill.
It's like chills down your spine.
That's right.
Yeah, great. I like that. No.
You don't have to ask.
What the?
He walks in the morning singing.
Leah, they were like, shut the
Here he comes. Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know
Yeah.
you've been nominated for 2 Tony Awards. Yes.
Has anyone seen Glee? Anyone? Couldn't wait for a new guest star to come on set. Just
Interesting were the little bits of the ADT employee who is the BTK killer, right? That's what we're going for. Because there was no... I think a lot of people were kind of like...
Jonathan, I associate you with everything that is light-hearted, I think because of Glee and Frozen. So this seems like quite a departure for you.
this is closer to who I really am. Just like dark, fucked up, unsmiling.
You've got a lot to tap into, right?
Yeah, it was all of my repressed darkness from doing Glee and Frozen is now getting some expressed through. No.
So your characters seem like chalk and cheese. You're very much...
What does he say?
Chalk and cheese is a British expression.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll translate. It's not a problem.
I thought
Chalk
it
and
was American.
cheese.
I thought it was an American expression as well.
I like that. Like
You can-
chalk?
Just,
Right.
It means
Chalk and
different,
cheese.
basically.
They're very different.
I see.
Right?
Sorry, yeah, you
Yeah.
can... Okay, you can just translate for me. Okay, so they're different.
Different, okay.
How does that continue throughout the series? Did they end up rubbing each other up the wrong way? It's probably another saying.
You know, it's a...
While we were shooting, and it made me excited, feeling like people were going to be also into this. I think, I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here, but I think that the pairing of David and Netflix is such a genius pairing and such a no-brainer because David is such a brilliant, groundbreaking... Okay. But in all seriousness, but when we sat down and had our first meeting about the show, he was talking about how...
I said, you don't need to audition the sex scene. Dialogue and all.
I was like, so many questions about oral. No, he said that, and correct me if I'm wrong.
But should we be really worried for Ford?
Maybe. He didn't. Yeah, it's not going well when you have a panic attack on the floor of a hospital. I hope he's not dead.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I don't think he's dead.
Vous connaissez votre voix française ou pas? Ça peut être choquant.
So he...
No, I haven't heard my French
Non,
voice.
je n'ai pas entendu ma voix
Ça peut être
française.
choquant. Ça vous intéresse ou pas?
It's disturbing.
Wait, no.
Vraiment, c'est perturbant?
Yeah, let's hear it in French.
Oh, I'd love to.
Oui, nous devons l'entendre en français.
J'aimerais beaucoup. Vous l'aurez voulu, hein?
Vous croyez?
Aujourd'hui, nous devons faire face. Here it is, and there's going to be 11 pages of this, and get over yourself.
Well, Jonathan and Holt, your characters are obviously obsessed with psychology, so I'd like to ask you about your relationships with your mothers. Or rather, how you went about researching these roles.
My mom actually let me dress up like Mary Poppins for Halloween when I was 3, so I feel like that's the reason I'm not a serial killer.
We're going to be a much bigger show than House of Cards. You know, nothing against those people, they're all very talented, but Mindhunter is going to be so much more interesting. No, look, it's...
Holt and I actually sang a duet.
We did, at my mom's memorial. So I asked my very generous co-star if he would be willing, since he can actually sing. If he
You
would be...
can actually sing. Don't try and...
So we sang, what did we sing?
What did we sing?
We sang, it's that famous
That's
song.
life.
That's what people say, riding high in April, shot down in May, right?
Yes.
But the thing about it was that Jonathan forgot all the words. So we're up there at my mom's memorial, and and I
basically
sing my
ruined it.
line, and then like something comes back. It's not the lyrics of the song, but it was something, and it was just so
terrible.
funny.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, great. And I suppose you can't tell me anything about what's going to be in it.
I keep almost... Yeah, I can't, sadly. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I wish I could. When the cameras are off, I'll tell you everything. Generally, hopefully, actors are curious, and I'm a little bit of an intimacy whore in my real life. Let me expand on that. I'm interested in people. I like hearing people's stories, and so that element of the character felt really natural to me. And I wasn't a serial killer aficionado going into this. All of my friends, my sister-in-law listens to the podcast, the murderer thing. Everyone in my life is obsessed with serial killers, but this was kind of an education for me, which was cool because it paralleled the journey of the character. Is there like a feedback? Are we hearing like a feedback? Should I go closer or further away? Or just stay where I am? Is it a ringing in my ear? Am I about to die?
Stroke.
Okay. Wait a second. It's that Quaalude you gave me at dinner.
So the sex scenes are very typically David Fincher in that they're very realistic. Are they more awkward to shoot than other scenes?
I love doing sex scenes. I'm like weird in that way. I find that when you do sex scenes, usually there's little or no dialogue and there's no lying. It's just intimacy between two people, and there's this heightened energy on set. Usually there's crew is a little more stripped down, you're a little more stripped down, and you get to express yourself and explore a level of intimacy that to me is really interesting and exciting. I love doing sex scenes. I did on this one with David, because we did a lot of takes of the sex scene, have a moment where I was so sweaty, because I'm a very sweaty person, where like sweat was dripping off of my nose in a direct stream onto Hannah's like chest. So we had to take a break because we started laughing, but that happened often actually.
Well, that's impressive that it was your own sweat, because I think normally makeup artists have to apply sweat. So
Well, they started to, yeah. Gigi would come in at first because they were like, we want them, like, they've been good. So it started with them, like, squirting me down a little bit, and then they're like, oh, okay, we don't have to squirt him down. He's disgustingly sweaty, which is how I get in life.
TMI.
I was just thinking, wow, man.
No, your fans are going to love that.
You learn more about your acting partner in these interviews than you ever thought you would.
So many revelations today.
So many revelations.
They say that now there's one in every 24 person is a psychopath in the USA.
And the number's much higher in Hollywood.
Truly.
1 and 2.
And I have like protein powder in my cupboard, and then I take it down and I'm like, yeah, I'm part of this.
You seem like a naughty type.
Oh my God, I want to live with
Wow.
you.
Take that protein powder down.
I'm dangerous, guys. I don't know if you got that yet. But yeah, the crown is so...
I loved your tape. I remember you from 7 years ago, and the part is yours if you want it. I just wanted to talk about, like, that this could be a couple of years if it goes well, and are you ready to live in Pittsburgh? And I was like, what? It's kind of like, actually, the end of the 4th episode of Mindhunter, where they find out they have the funding.
Yeah.
And they're like nodding, but they're like, holy shit, in their brain.
Is it a little bit also like the end of the 7th episode when you find out the person you're talking to is wearing high heels? And you're like, I don't know how I feel about this? Or am is that a
Exactly. And it was like, I had an erection, but now it's the opposite of that, actually.
Yes, it is. Est-ce que vous servez de guide
Oui,
à Jonathan pour Paris?
Absolument, absolument. Je connais bien la ville. Et
qu'est-ce qui vous a fait visiter?
Harry's New York Bar. C'est passé à côté l'opéra, tu vois?
Ah ouais.
Et quoi d'autre? Un restaurant qui s'appelle l'Absinthe. Hier soir, on a mangé dans un très très bon restaurant français.
L'Absinthe?
L'Absinthe. Et ce soir, c'est un bar du jazz dans le 5e arrondissement, dans le quartier latin.
Très bien.
Mais samedi, on va faire un petit tour en bicyclette avec Monsieur David Fincher.
David Fincher est à Paris. En tout cas, bienvenue à tous les deux à Paris.
Over and over and over and over. And in theater, to me, the play doesn't gel until at least 3 months in. You know, when you've done it 3 months.
So I saw Spring Awakening too soon.
You probably... probably. So that articulated itself very early on, and it became our running joke between the two of us, where he would tell me to stop smiling because I would smile even unconsciously, and I'm smiling right now.
Yeah.
And in life, I'm a smiler, and it's this weird subconscious thing that he sort of zeroed in on with me and pointed out. And so he'd be like, "Okay, and we're rolling," and Jonathan, stop smiling, and you're still smiling. You're still smiling. Okay, and action, right? Yeah, well, what's weird about it is there isn't actually noise.
Whoa,
Because, yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Really? When you have to dance?
When
you're dancing, there's no music?
Actually, in the scene in the bar where I first meet her, they had everybody talking so we could achieve a level of vocal loudness. Yeah. But then in the scene with the band, because of sound, we had like the music playing in our ear, but we had to talk like this and pretend that. So that's what was weird about it, is you're like pretending that you're talking over a band, but there's actually nothing happening.
Yeah. You know, I'm
But there is a music when you have to dance. Like if people like doing stuff and talking, they're just.
It's like us in this room right now.
Wow. And do you want to tell them what happened?
Come on, how did it end?
Yeah, Holt was like we had a session in Holt's bathroom with his voice teacher on Skype, and which sounds way dirtier than it actually was. And we were practicing, and Holt was like, really, and I was like, Holt, it's gonna be great. Like, it's gonna be great.
Thank you for doing this, Jonathan. This is so nice of you, man. I really appreciate it. You're such a great guy.
It's gonna go over so well. Like, you sound amazing.
And you're such a pro. He's been nominated for 2 Tony Awards on Broadway.
Okay, what happened?
And then we got to the actual event, and I completely messed up the words.
He forgot his words.
What did you sing?
I was just nonsense. And Holt was like, okay.
Wow. Okay.
At his mother's memorial.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really bad.
You're still friends.
But we are still friends.
Great point. Great point. He's forgiven me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
People were laughing. It was a lot. It was fun.
So, but no singing.
And so it was very detailed and specific work. And in that one, for example, scene with Richard Speck, in the 9th episode, where I say, what gave you the right to take 8 ripe cunts out of the world? And Holden's...
That is a spoiler. I'm only up to 7,
oh, sorry, yeah, that's a spoiler.
Wow.
But it's
I thought they were still in the world. Unbelievable. Go on.
They are.
Gave you your assistant.
The music is...
Got into a few fights. You can do both. It's not an issue.
So you must be so excited about Series 2 being commissioned. Where would you like it to go if you could write it yourself?
Did you just tell us that we got picked up?
I don't know. My understanding is that we're still
waiting
to hear about season 2.
Oh, I hope I'm not wrong. I read that online.
Oh, okay. But
then it must be true.
You know, our hope is that this journey has only just begun.
Okay. Well,
we've only just begun. Taking a tactic to get this guy to open up, and there's a very specific physical gesture where he kind of, and this is one of the things, we were in the room with Fincher, and he was like, to the actor who played Richard Speck, you know, what if you just like give up and you put your hands out and your head down? And then when 5 episodes before, Debbie talks about mirroring and how mirroring is a way to get people to open up. And so I lean my arm, you know, across the table and get right down on the level with him and say something that's so disgusting, but in the language that he would use. You're good.
Oh, just you know. No?
I mean, if you sing with us.
What is the song?
I don't know, you start and we'll follow.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Fly Me to the Moon.
Great.
Ready? Fly me to the moon. Let me play. Come on.
Among the stars.
Yeah.
Not recommend eating while watching.
Right. Yeah, it might just like set you off
I
your
had taco
food as
night
well.
last night, and I did take a break.
But
Actually, after a while.
I will say, I assume people listening to this have watched some of it and would agree with me, but one of my favorite things about the show is that it does leave room for things that are more traditional TV. It doesn't take itself so seriously or preciously that we don't have the travel montage.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Later in the episode, later in the series, I feel like Jonathan got to do some like Krasinski office like mugging, like kind of like in the background, like
totally.
Okay. First, you. I mean, with the reputation you have for taking more than one take.
We did 2 or 3 in this.
How many did you do? How many?
It's so funny because that actually, the scene with Ed Kemper is a perfect example, I think, of the multiple takes, because we did that scene over 2 days. And
that little scene over 2 days?
It's longer than that.
Oh, God.
It's longer than that. But I was doing, so there's a lot of comedy built in, or there's a potential for a lot of comedy built into this sort of wide-eyed innocent agent across the table from this giant person who's so dangerous.
Moving the papers all the time. Yeah.
And I was doing all this shtick, right, in the takes, and we were doing it over and over again, and I was finding all this like shtick or whatever. And that line where he says, "Why are you so tense?" And I say, "I'm not tense." Previously, in the previous takes, I've been doing all this like shtick of I'm not tense and like doing all this stuff. And David was like, "What if you do nothing?" This was at like the middle of the second day. And to me, it's changed the whole sort of energy of that moment. It created something more realistic. It took away like the actory comedic shtick that I was doing, and it feels really honest. And we found that after a bunch of takes.
That's why he's David Fincher.
I mean, that's one of the millions of reasons of why he's David Fincher, but yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
I have to ask this because I think your career is terrific and fascinating because you have passionate fans in very diverse segments of society.
Serial killer fanfic.
Well, this is what we're getting to because I'm wondering if let's throw a hypothetical out to explain this question. So you're walking down the street in New York City, and you probably get the vibe. Okay, someone recognizes me from a certain 20 feet away, and they're coming forward. At what point can you tell if this is a Hamilton fan, a Frozen fan?
Right.
Probably if they're being pushed in a stroller, they're a
Looking.
looking fan.
Or somebody saying, "Hey, oh, Mindhunter!"
Yeah, exactly. Or a 7-foot tall man in size 14 pumps.
Yeah. Oh, pizza. Yeah.
but
and there was a day when Jonathan and I started laughing, and we couldn't stop. But it really went on and on. And, David Fincher has a sense of humor. But there does come a point when we got to go back to work now, guys. Do you know what I mean? The laughing has got to stop. And so finally we couldn't stop.
Because it's that thing where, like, it's like you start laughing, and then the crew starts laughing, and everybody thinks it's really funny. And then the crew stops laughing, and that's when, for me, it gets really funny.
But Jonathan, and then I managed sort of to stop, kind of, until I looked at him again, and and you were laughing so uncontrollably that I couldn't stop it. So finally, David said, "Jonathan, take a walk." Mon ami, elle est adorable. Elle a une grande souris tous les jours. Il vient au travail avec une super attitude. Elle est très professionnelle. Elle est toujours bien préparée. Et c'est quelque chose que j'ai apprécié beaucoup. Et puis on s'amuse. Hein. Monsieur Fincher, il est assez strict. Donc on travaille beaucoup. Mais il y a des moments aussi qu'on peut rigoler un petit peu. C'est un grand chanteur, lui.
I know.
C'est une vedette à Broadway. Non, mais c'est Broadway star. I just told you, a Broadway star. No,
Don't believe a word.
Il a une belle voix.
Holy shit, it's Groff.
Maybe that's what. Thank you for saying that.
It's the code of New York.
Right.
You're the most recognizable person.
Except
in
the times you walk a reindeer through the streets.
Yeah.
Through the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure if you've ever been outside
dressed like in a Norwegian, exactly, outfit and had a reindeer.
My last question is really, I kind of just want to pump you for Fincher stories the whole time, but
pump away, pump away. Cough it out.
Is there any
I'm gonna keep coughing.
Go, you could do it.
Let it go, yeah.
Okay.
Cheers.
I just cried because we talked about Frozen.
Is there any times, is there B-roll or blooper reel footage from Mindhunter where it's cut and then three of you pull out fidget spinners or your iPhone and it's you're in an Eastern Airlines or a TWA plane, but one of you is tweeting or something like that?
I wish that the bloopers started at cut, but they usually start somewhere between action and cuts. I had this. There is a blooper reel actually that we showed at the rap party. Yeah, because I think it's a couple of things. First of all, because he's very particular too about costume, and every costume is meticulously picked out down to the fabric of the suit and the fabric of the shirt, and he didn't want to see a lot of wrinkles in my character's shirts, right? Because Holt is kind of the messy, shirt untucked thing, but I'm the more so I wore these, we call them hold-ups, where they attach my shirt to my socks.
Oh, wow. What?
To keep the shirt straight, when we're walking with right? So I'm in this corset. Uniform based corset, basically, right? And then it's sometimes the material is very dark and serious and intense, and so it's very serious, the whole thing. So it was a little bit of an epidemic where I would lose my shit and just start hysterically laughing. Also, just something about Holt in general cracks me up. He's just, and you'll meet him, I'm sure, at some point. He's just hilarious as a person.
Yeah.
So there is a blooper reel, and it's a lot of us just losing it in the middle of incredibly serious moments. One time I had to do
No, you go ahead. You went one time you did what?
I had to do laps because I couldn't get it back. Because this thing happens, and maybe this has happened to you guys, where all of a sudden people will laugh, right? And the crew is laughing, and it's funny, and it's oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
These guys don't think we're funny at all.
Well, this is the thing. Then we'd be on set, and then the crew would stop laughing. And then I think it's really funny, right? Because once people start to get annoyed,
because
then they're trying to get back to work.
Lunch.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was gonna ask who the big.
So you grew up in Pennsylvania.
I did.
And
yeah.
How'd you get started with everything?
All right,
PA.
Yep. There they are.
Keystone State.
Yep.
Lancaster, PA. I started actually acting in. All right, Lancaster, PA. My mom is here. That might have been my mom.
Yeah, maybe.
I started doing plays in my dad's barn. Actually, that famous first production was The Wizard of Oz.
Incredible. And who did you play?
Dorothy, obviously.
There's the photo.
And that's the photo, yes.
That was the beginning. That's what started
me,
it all.
In a wig.
Just to show how talented you are, because from that now to Mindhunter.
Right.
A totally different role, different look, different character. It's following a couple FBI agents. Tell us about the show.
Yeah.
Did researching serial killers or reading the book and learning about sort of psychopathy or psychopathologies, if you will, affect you in any way?
Not in any, I did turn on the location settings on my iPhone when I would go running in the morning by the river in Pittsburgh, just thinking wow, someone could really just come by in a van and jump me, which, could be good or bad. So there was this element of joviality. Is that a word? Joviality?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. To him,
We'll get back
Holt
to it.
was definitely the biggest cut up on
Okay.
set. He was like always telling really bad dad jokes and just like making
By the way,
people
small
laugh.
Holt comment. This is my only nit I want to pick.
Yeah.
The character's 44 years old.
Yeah.
I mean no disrespect, because his performance is one of my favorite of the year. But I'm just saying, I'm staring down the barrel. That's 4 years ahead of me. And is it the 7? Is it the steaks?
You got to get some baked potatoes. Yeah.
Because
He said in an interview the other day, like, I'm so like grateful that they made me 44. So he's like made jokes about that as well.
okay, good.
Welcome to our home.
Thank you for having me.
You've been a pleasure.
Charlize, has she been on set much? Or
I had like butterflies eating her because she's such a legend.
will she be in season 2?
I think she's gonna play Manson.
Like these two women did French Mindhunter. This is the weekend the show came out. I was like, oh my god. That's the crazy thing about Netflix, is that the day it comes out, all over the world, in one day, all of a sudden you're just everywhere. You're everywhere. Yeah, it's so cool.
Measure of horror in it, no question about it.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
I'm a real conversation stopper.
If any of this is going to work, we need to talk to more subjects. More? No. What's next? Charles Manson, when's he booked for?
We were thinking June.